Good morning, everybody. It is May 1st. Hope everybody had a good weekend. And starting this a little earlier. I'm going to try to do this a little earlier now. It's video's been kind of creeping into my little prep time for the opening of the market. So I wanted to give myself a little more time and not be so time constrained. So this could be a mainstay. Might even go a little earlier than later. We'll have to see. Hope everybody had a good weekend, like I said. Welcome to my channel. Of course, let's get into it. My name's Steven Gonzalez. I analyze the futures in the stock market. I use volume profile, market profile to come up with trade ideas, trade plans for stocks and futures or the indexes, using supply and demand as well as my gamma levels now that I see definitely take action on those levels. So, of course, like always, you can follow me on Twitter, Gonzo719, and Instagram, Gonzo719 Jersey. Alright, show me some love, subscribe. I'm trying to build this channel. Set an alert, share with your friends if you can. That would be awesome. Let's get into this. We got a big week, of news, earnings. First Republic Bank taken over by JP Morgan. Of course, that's in the news. We got Apple earnings this week, FOMC, just a lot of stuff coming up this week. So it should be a little bit of a nuts week, but every week's kind of like that, right? Um, let's get right into. We're gonna get into the futures, and then we'll get into some news. All right. Let's go to that futures. All right. So we have the VIX is up 4.63%, but it's only at 16. Okay. Silver's up 2.12%. That's a nice move in silver. The dollar is a little up. Gold is at 2K, flat. 10-year yield is not going to move until 820. So that we'll look at that in a little bit with the triple-headed monster. The Dow is flat. ES is down 0.13, and Nasdaq is down 0.22. Russell's down 0.24. This is probably a little bit due to the First Republic Bank bonds right now being sold, which we should see the TNX 10-year yield rise. So that comes out at 820 in a couple minutes. Ether is down 2.71 and Bitcoin's down 3%. Let's move on. So let me sort these. So AMD reports earnings this week. Okay, Intel already set up nice for the semis last week. They're up 1% pre-market. Nvidia sympathy with that, but there's only a 0.28, right? Let's talk about the laggards. There's some news on Tesla. Okay, there's some news on Meta. Meta's trying to raise money or something. I saw that. We'll get into that. Apple is down 0.45. Now they report earnings this week. At first, I saw there was going to be a decline, but now they're saying that there should be a rise in iPhone. But we'll have to see. All right, Amazon from that weak cloud forecast, they're down 0.71, and Coin is down 1.47%. Now MicroStrategy reports after the close today their earnings. Okay, let's move on. So top sector stocks, no surprise here. JP Morgan taking over First Republic Bank. It's up 4.12%, followed by Qualcomm, which is a semi. So that is getting some sympathy, but that's not that much of a move. Let's go to some laggards. All right, I did see Chevron get a downgrade. Exxon, I believe, did it as well. That's down 1.54%. Now China had a weak PMI So that doesn't look good as far as the manufacturing. So that's bringing crude down. Okay, so that's the news with that. Let's look at sectors. Financials. He's the leader right now, up 0.45. No other leader to speak of. Who's lagging? No surprise here. Energy, down 0.89. No surprise there, right? All right, let's get into some news, data, all the above. Okay. And we're going to first look at earnings for this week. Okay, so let's just dive right into that. All right, so SoFi reported before the open. All right, today after the close, we got MGM, MicroStrategies. Okay, on Tuesday, Uber before the open, Pfizer, BP, Marriott, Marathon, pretty decent, right? And then after the close on Tuesday, you have AMD. That's a big one. Okay, Supermicro, Starbucks. Okay, Caesars. Wednesday, before the open, CVS, Barrick. All right, WWE. After the close, Qualcomm, Sunrun, Marathon Oil, Etsy. Okay, Thursday is the big day. Before the open, Rosita, Datadog, Moderna, Royal Caribbean, Peloton, ConocoPhillips, Shell. Okay, after the close, Apple on Thursday. Okay, Block on Thursday, Coinbase. So big week for crypto. So Block, Coinbase, MicroStrategies this week. DraftKings, Lyft, Fortinet, Carvana, Bookings Holdings. Okay, and then Friday, AMC, Warner Brothers, Fubo, Cigna. So another big week of earnings. Okay, but Apple, obviously, AMD, probably going to move something in the market. Of course they will, right? So that's earnings. All right, now let's look at some of the news that's coming out here. Okay, First Republic, Bank falls. JP Morgan taking over. What do we have this week? All eyes on the Fed. ISM manufacturing data is due, so we'll go over the calendar in a second. So basically, I am not trading until after 10 a.m. I have an alarm set. So 9:45, we got data coming out. Then at 10 a.m. you got a slew of data coming out. That should be volatile. So I don't really want to be in a trade, holding a trade during that time. All right, we got Apple coming out this week already know, but oil price slips on Fed hike and Chinese PMA concerns. Of course, we all expect the Fed hike a quarter point this week. Okay, now going to economic calendar for this week. Okay, this is what I was talking about. At 9:45 you have PMI. Then at 10 a.m. you have ISM manufacturing, construction spending. Okay, so that is something that you don't want to be in a trade for. It's going to be, it's not going to be good for a trade. It's going to cause some volatility. All right. And now on Tuesday, we have JOLTS jobs at 10 a.m. All right. Wednesday is a big day. You got the FOMC. You got PMI at 9:45, ISM at 10. Then you have FOMC at 2, and then you followed by the press conference. So huge day. Huge day. Okay. And then on Thursday, what do we have? I wouldn't really say. Oh, jobless claims. Okay. And then on Friday, nothing to really note of the big ones. Okay. It says employment situation. Let me look at that. This is a little different calendar. Let me look at that. Okay, so Friday we have they didn't break it down like this on that site. So we have non-farm payrolls and unemployment on Friday. The last time we had that was on like a holiday. Okay, so that's big. And jobless claims on Thursday. Okay, that's what's going on right now. I did see Meta. Give me a sec here. I did see Meta came out with some kind of. Let's see here. I found it here. It came up with some debt shelf thing. See, this is where Apple iPhone units likely to beat market expectations. Oh, here it is. Meta Inc. files for debt shelf, size not disclosed. So that's something else. Been looking at. Alright, so that's going to kind of wrap up the news. Let's get into those daily charts. Alright, let's work off those daily charts now. Okay, so wanted to I'll talk about this a little later, that balance rules. And I regret a little bit of myself of knowing those balance rules, that I said to you guys, if you break balance and you make a move lower, but then you come back into that balance area, usually go back to the other side. And that's exactly what we did in all the indexes. Okay, so let's get a little closer look. Just a lot of short covering because this candle took out both of these days, and then this candle took out these. Okay, so big close on Friday on the SPY. Okay, broke those highs a little bit. You can see from this day of April 18th. So that was a decent move. Let's look at the weeklies. So you can see the weeklies kind of came up to last week's high and the prior week's high. So this is definitely an area we could break out. Okay, next resistance is at around 417, call it 418. Currently the market's at 415. We're a little below the close. Okay, let's look at the Qs. So Qs broke out of this shelf here. We had a better balance area in the Qs. So it was from like 320 to 313. And again, let's look at it closer, right? We had this area we were playing in. Once we made the move lower and broke these lows, if we didn't get continuation, we didn't, right? We got a move. We came back, took out these shorts with this candle, right? And then this one finished it off and we broke out. So the Qs broke out of this range. The ES did not. So it's a strong candle. Okay. Now where can we go next? 330. There's a little gap here. Well, that was a gap, yeah. So this gap hasn't been filled here. It's a tiny little gap. But really 330. Now this broke out. So now where is this now? 321. So if we go in here, we're about right 321.80, right about here. We're on the upper end of the range, but not at the highs. Okay, let's look at the weeklies. So you can see the weeklies broke out of this range. Can we get continuation to 330? Because 330, you can see on the weeklies, is a support. You don't really see it as great as nicely on the daily, but you can see here how the weeklies would have resistance here. Okay, at 330. Let's go back. Let's look at our Dow. Dow at the most traded price we saw when we zoom out, but then the Dow played with that big level. All right, that 336.19 has been that big level. Okay, so see the Dow was playground was 340 to 336, right? When 336 broke, we came down to this 333, and then we ripped, and look what happened. This is balance rules. Okay, you can't sustain a move. You come back into balance, you usually go to the other end. What did we do? We went to the other end of balance and broke it. Actually came out here and closed at 341, but the Dow is at 340.91 right now, so it's right about, it's closer to the highs. Okay, let's look at the weeklies. So you can see the big excess last week in the Dow. That big tail, that big wick, right at the 10-week moving average. Okay, it couldn't close below this. This is a very key level on weeklies, the 10-week EMA. Really tips its hand to you judge it by the close. Okay, so all right, let's look at the Russell. So the Russell still, now the Russell, even though it's a little weaker today, I'm eyeing one of those balance range trades. Okay, because you saw it in all the other indexes what it did, right? But the Russell's been a little weaker. So let's look into that. Okay, so our playground was around from 179 here. The playground was to the low, to this kind of lows here, 175. Okay, so we dropped pretty low in the Russell, right? So it did take out this candle, hasn't yet taken out this one, right? But if it does come back into here, 176, I'm going to set an alert. I think I already have one alert there, but I'm going to set it anyway. If we do break this 20-day simple moving average, I am going to set up a trade to go to the 179. Now the Russell's a little weak. That's why I want to wait until it comes and breaks this and holds this. But also, right now it closed right at the 9 EMA daily. Okay, so let's look at the weekly. You can see the range a lot better here. So let's just zoom in right on the range. Okay, so here's the top of our range, right? The bottom of the range was right here. It was broken. Okay, so like I said, if we hit 176, I would expect us to go to the top of this range, because you're going to take out the shorts here, and I think that's a pretty good trade. Okay, so that range is very important. It's a little bit of a laggard, but I think it's still giving us a shot at that trade. Okay, and keep in mind also we're at the most traded price. We're leaving the most traded price of the last year right here at 173. Okay, all right, now we can look at that 10-year yield like I was talking about before, the triple-headed monster. So here's the 10-year yield. Let's get this in view here. So I expected it to rise a little bit. It has 3.48 right here. Okay, people are selling 30-year bonds right now. So like I said, this is kind of undecided right now. This is very undecided. triple head it. Let's go to that VIX. Now the VIX really got low to 15. Let's zoom in here to 15 on Friday, right? The VIX is raised a little bit. Now we should get a little more volatility coming into the market just because the FOMC and Apple earnings this week. Okay, so you got a little rise in the VIX. Okay, but we haven't seen these levels for a while. Okay, we could even go to the weeklies. Oop. Give me 1 second, sorry about that. We could even go to the weeklies. And we haven't seen that level since over here, November 2021. So that's pretty significant. Okay. All right, let's look at the dollar. Just a bunch of indecision here with all these dojis. Okay, but 101 still holding it. And we have that key support, right, in the weeklies that we talked about. Right here, 101. There's not much below that. See that? Look at that support. Call it 100 actually too. Let's right there. So you can just see, you don't have much support there if you break that. All right. All right, let's go over to the market profile and volume profile. Okay, let me get my marker. All right, so let's look what we look at every week. Let's look at the weekly volume profile. So we got a distribution here, and a distribution here, and then like a poor low. Okay, so kind of a funky looking profile. However, this is the monthly profile. Got a distribution here, the most traded price of the month. Okay, so a little more balanced profile, but we just kind of broke out. All right. So next, let's look at our key levels. Most traded price of the month. It's 41.55. Okay, most traded price of the week. 4,100. These are rolling. Okay, so they constantly change. But these are our key levels. Where's the market? Right here. It's above them. As long as we stay above them, it's bullish. Okay, even if price comes down here, holds, bullish. So that's how we're looking at the market right now. You have to be bullish unless something changes. We dip below this level, well, then that changes the story. Okay, next, what are we going to look at? Where are we at now in the overnight as a relation to Friday's session, right? So we got Friday's session here, high and low. And what do we have? Overnight high, overnight low. We have a balanced session overnight. Okay, most traded price of Friday is right here. So it's very bullish. Okay, because you know how we talk about these big levels, most traded price of the month, most traded price of the week, right? Those are the big levels, right? But then the immediate level of bias is, well, the most people traded on Friday was here. This level, 41.80, was the most traded price of Friday. Well, guess what? We're holding above that. So we made a big move higher and we're holding prices higher. Forget about that, it's down a little bit. This is what matters. We're holding this immediate level. So that kind of gives me a bullish bias today, you know. So, however, a couple things to note here. So now we established our bias, what it looks like, right? Now I have to look at some nuance. Okay, what I'm looking at here is there is what I would consider a weak low here. Why is that? Well, you have the overnight low here, and you have the most traded price. Okay, so this is a tipping point for the long or for the short. Okay, because if we hold it, well, then you're going to go long. Now, conversely, if we break it, so think about this. We opened here and we drove higher and came all the way up to here. And the most trades were here, which are longs. And now you have the overnight are all long from here. Well, if we come and break this, this is going to cause some immediate pain. Now, that doesn't mean that we fall apart. It just means that I would expect a flush here, at least to the bottom of the demand. And then there's another decision to make. So that's the nuance I'm seeing, a weak low right here. Okay, this is the beauty of market profile. You don't see this with candlesticks. Okay, this is the edge that the market profile gives me. Most traded price, overnight low. Okay, but it's bullish bias, right? So let's go with our bias and let's talk about a trade. Okay, so what I just said. Okay, so what I just said was our first trade is the long. If to see if the market, ooh, that's a little too thick. Let's see if the market can come down here, right, and hold this level. Now there's a demand zone right here, so I could even say, let's see if it pops in here. Let's see how it reacts. You make some higher lows, well, you're going to go long if the markets can't seem to get lower, right? What are you going to do? You're going to target Friday's high, 41.93. There is a supply zone here. Okay, there is a supply zone. So I would say that's your first target, followed by the end of the supply here, which would be 42.05. Okay, that's the market holding. And you always need liquidity for the move to happen, right? Because if everybody's long, you just don't get long, 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 and go up straight line. You want to have this liquidity. You want to have people who were short come into this level, and then guess what? Well, they got to cover, and that fuels the move higher. Okay, so it's basically hold this level in this demand. Okay, also you have the 50% retracement of 41.68. I would say that's the last line of defense. Even if we come down here, break this demand, and even if we whip like that but come up, start making, that's your long. Okay, so that's what I'm looking. I'm not chasing. If we just go higher, I am not chasing long. Okay, now another long, because we know that we have big levels here. Okay, even if this gets taken out, this 50%, okay, that's a little tip to the sellers, but guess what? They still have this most traded price of the month to deal with in the 9 AMA daily. So if this holds, that's the long. Okay, that's what I'm looking at. Now, yes, there's demand here, but that goes below this level, so I wouldn't be as anxious to take that long. The only way I'd come down here as I target this level and then maybe hold it to go higher. So I know that's a lot of longs, what I'm just saying, but it's just because that's the bias right now. Okay, now short wise, I talked about this weak low. Okay, so if you're looking for a little bit of a scalp and then maybe hold a runner, what I'd like to see is a push up here, get some sellers in this supply, come back down, and if you get some volume through here, you're going to get a flush. And I could see it flushing somewhere in this demand zone. Now, the question is, does this flush get momentum and continuation? Do we hold, and then we go here? Possibly. But we all know there's a bullish bias. So, like, you know, this short is contingent on breaking this demand and holding it, and then you're going to get follow through. And then, do we really cut through this level and hit this demand and go lower? I don't know. I don't think that's in the cards, but you have to leave your mind open to it. Okay? And then, of course, here's your other short. I just mentioned it in this blank, but if you come up here and we start getting weakness, you start making some low highs, well, then you target the most traded price. Then you see if this weak low comes through, you target the demand and target the most traded price of the month. That's our plan in the ES. Okay, pretty clear. Now let's move over to the NASDAQ. Now let's look at everything we normally look at, right? So the NASDAQ, we have kind of like a double distribution here in the NASDAQ. Okay, so we have a big distribution higher, then we have some lower volume, and the big distribution is called double distribution profile. Okay, that's the weekly profile. Now the monthly is very balanced. Look at that. A lot of trading here, and then it tapers off. So you got a very balanced profile of the last month. Okay, let's look at our key levels now. Most traded price of the month is here. That price is 130.70. Still a major level, right? Most traded price of the week, 129.50. Where's price? Right here. That's very bullish for the NASDAQ. Okay, way above these big levels. Okay, now quick side note. I did put a successful trade on based on my analysis from Friday, and if everybody watched, go back and watch my video, which is very easily to do. I said the 50% retracement of this move on Thursday was very key. And I said there was a weak low right here. Here's the midpoint of Thursday. Here is Friday overnight session, or Thursday into Friday's overnight session, right? It had an overnight low right at that level, right? So look what happened. I'm going to draw a line straight across from that midpoint. That was Friday's low. So look what happened on Friday. Let me split this out so we can see what happened, right? I can make this bigger. Okay. I'm going to draw it again so everybody can see it close up, how important this was. So here's the midpoint on Thursday. Draw a line across. You get it, my line's not perfect, but this was the tipping point of the market. Look where we opened. We opened right here. Market opened there. And what did it do? It drove down right to the 50% level that I talked about, and then it took off. That's why the levels, what I'm talking about, are important, right? And then in turn, I went long on Think Snow on Friday, which was a pretty decent trade. So that's why I talk about those levels. Okay? Very, very important. And that's why I just mentioned it in the ES. Okay? And I'm just going to rearrange this so everybody can see what I'm talking about again, so we can talk about today. Hope everybody understood what I just said. Okay, so we got our big levels. We're above it, right? Well, again, I'm going to point it out again. Right? I'm going to point this out again. I'm going to make this a little bigger. This is what's cool about the profile, okay? This is what's exciting about it, that you can see this stuff. You don't see it in candles. All right, so we have our big levels. And the other one here. We're above them, okay? Bullish. Okay? Now, this most traded price of the week down here, I can see it moving all the way up here. See the volume pulling out? That would be even more bullish if that moves up here today. Okay? Okay, let's get into it. Let's talk about where we're at. Overnight high. Overnight low. Friday's high. Friday's low. So we're at the upper portion of Friday's session. Okay? We have a balanced profile in the overnight. So that doesn't really tell us much. But what does tell us is we're accepting higher prices. The market's accepting the higher prices. Forget about the high was here and here. It doesn't matter. The market's accepting higher prices. That's how you have to look at it. Okay? Now, what do we have here? Same kind of thing. Here's the most traded price of Friday. We're above it. And we have a demand zone right in here. It's even a better setup in the NASDAQ than it is in the ES, just like I talked about. It's even a better setup because the demand zone encompasses the most traded price. So this is also our tipping point right here. So in the NASDAQ, it's setting up prettier. Okay. So let's talk about our plan. And let's get into the longs because we got to be biased long. Same thing as the ES, it's just prettier because the demand zone encompasses the most traded price of the week. So, like I said, whatever the market does, it could dip down, it can come up here, come in here, or just come in here. Okay, this is the area you have to concentrate on because, again, this is the most trades were initiated here on Friday. You go below that, we're going to get a flush of some sort. But if it holds, that's the key, right? That's what we're going off for these trades. If it holds and we start making lower highs, well, you got to go long. Target Friday's high, 133.36. Okay, then you have a supply zone here, which could cause some resistance. Hold it, see if you can get to the end at 133.67, followed by the start of this demand zone at 134. Okay, now if this fails, that's fine. If this long goes, it goes. However, if this flush happens, which is fine, markets just don't go up forever. They don't go up in straight lines. If we come down here, we start testing Friday's lows, right? Well, lower highs, you're going to go long. Target the most traded price on Friday, followed by the other targets I just mentioned. Okay, now, there's another nuance that I'm seeing right here. And I'm giving you guys a lot of these lately because that's what market profile shows me, right? Now, this is the 50% move of Thursday, the overnight low Friday morning, and now that is Friday's low. Now that is a weak low. Okay, you have 50% overnight low, Friday low. What that means is there's longs all positioned here. So this is a very key level, and one or two things will happen here. This holds, that's where the long comes in. But if this breaks, I could see a little flush here, a little baby flush come through here. And you have the two major moving averages, 9 EMA daily and the 20 simple moving average. Now, it could catch a bid and you can go higher. However, this is where if the market has some kind of weakness and maybe AMD has bad or whatever, you can get a flush down to this level. Okay, so now you kind of know where I'm going to go with some shorts. Okay, so let's move over to the short land. And of course, we have to talk about it. This supply here, come in here, get some higher, get some lower highs. You target the most traded price and demand here. See if you get that flush here. Then we're moving down to this demand. Okay, now you got that big weak low here. If we make it here with volume, hold one on. This is tough. We got 9 EMA daily and a 20 simple moving average. I expect you get support here. But if you can kind of work this off, you can make it down here if there's major weakness. And again, this could get defended this big level. I would suspect to get defended by the bulls. This is the last line of defense for the bulls that would still be bullish. Okay, understand that the structure still above this is bullish. Below this, not good. All right. So that's going to be it. Hope everybody got those plans. I like the setups that we're talking about. Now again, reiterating, not a lot of good setups. I mean, not a lot of good setups. Be careful. 9:45 a.m. and 10 o'clock have news coming out that should be volatile. Doesn't mean it's going to go up, 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 or down, 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 down. But it's just you're in a day trade and you have your stop right there. It could get taken out very easily. So just be careful. Okay, just be careful with that. All right. So let's stay green today. Let's stay patient. All right. Let's have a good trading day. All right. We got our plans. I am not looking long if this market just starts going higher. That is not a good trade. All right. We wait for the pullback. We wait for the pullback. All right. All right. So again, subscribe. Enjoy the grow the channel. I think I'm still probably going to do a reel about snow and about the midpoint holding in the Nasdaq. I'll try to make a reel for that. Okay. I will make something if I see something of importance in the market. Okay. I wish everybody good luck today. Stay green. All right. Of course, as always, please give me that big thumbs up, the like, and you got my Twitter and my Instagram, Gonzo719 Jersey and Gonzo719. Okay, let's get out and make some money, everybody, today. All right, make some money, and if I don't talk to you guys or make a video or do anything, I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, take it easy.